First of all, if I don't get a chance to see you guys, why don't we do a meeting this week? So I'll get a chance to talk to you a little bit tomorrow, but if anybody's not there, happy Thanksgiving. Hope you get a chance to enjoy time with your family. As we all know how important that is. So if I don't get a minute to say that to you, I wanted to do that now. I also want to thank you guys for covering us all year long. What you do for our football program and for the athletic department for the university is appreciated. Talk a little bit about the last game, the Nebraska game. Offensively, our player of the game was Saquon Barkley. Defensively was Jason Cabinda and Sharif Miller. Special teams was Billy Fessler. He's a guy that our staff just really felt like made a bunch of tough holes in bad weather. Is a guy that has really done a nice job for us in a lot of different areas, but did a great job on Saturday when it comes to holding. Offensively, from a positive standpoint, rushed for 263 yards, 0 turnovers, which I'm really proud of as a coach. The weather conditions weren't great, and not putting the ball on the ground at all, not making any poor decisions with the ball, things like that. I was really proud of that. I thought we were more physical, 7.5 yards per carry. Our third down has steadily improved all year long. We were at 66%, which is great. Areas to improve, we had 3 penalties. We won the penalty battle, and probably would have won it even more because I think we declined 3 fairly significant penalties during the game because our defense had some good plays there. Our second half start wasn't as strong as I would have liked to been. And then I'd like to just see us finish and cover down a little bit. I'd like to see offensive linemen and tight ends at the end of every play by the pile, helping the ball carrier up or in position to push the pile, or if the ball does come out, they're there to recover it. I just think that's always a real healthy thing to see from a football team. Is on defense, a lot of guys around the ball, running to the ball, or on offense, a lot of players around the ball carrier to help him up after the play or push the pile or recover maybe a loose ball or something like that. So that's something, just little things as a head coach you look for on film to talk about, a healthy, program and a healthy environment, doing all the little things right. Defensively, we continue to do pretty good in sudden change. Second series of the game and forced a field goal. Had 8 3-and-outs, had 4 sacks. We stopped the run, 2.6 yards per carry, and also we're good on third down, 67%. And then obviously with 8 minutes left in the game, we had 283 yards, 24 points, and 6 explosives. And then things changed. I still kind of struggle with what that answer is. You leave your ones in, you're jeopardizing injuries. You leave your ones in, people say you're running up the score. You put your 2s in, people score a lot of points. You get angry text messages from people who've been drinking and the spread got messed up probably for them. A lot of things go into it, but I do think there's a lot of value. We got a bunch of young players, a lot of experience. We didn't play up to our standard with those young players. They got to play at a higher level, but they're also still playing against the ones from the other team. So that's a challenging thing, and I know the most important thing for us is the guys that go on the field, whoever they are, they got to play up to our standards. So that's kind of where we're at there. Areas to improve. Didn't handle the second sudden change very well. Allowed a touchdown in 3 plays. Got to be better in our man-to-man coverage, especially at the line of scrimmage. We weren't disruptive enough at the line of scrimmage. We didn't have any takeaways. I think this was the first week that we didn't have any defensive takeaways. I think the week before we had a special teams takeaway. So we got to be better there. And then special teams, I think our effort is really good. We haven't been as consistent kicking the ball on kickoff and a few details. We were playing a little more reckless earlier in the year, but I think we were also kicking the ball a little bit more consistent earlier in the year, so that helps. So we got to be a little bit better there, but overall, pretty good. We won we lost the turnover battle because of that one fluky punt. We won the penalty battle. We won the explosive play battle. We won the sack battle. So those are usually pretty good indicators for you. I will get into the Maryland game now. Coach Durkin does a great job. Got a lot of respect for him. I've kind of been competing against him for a number of years. It just seems like our paths continue to cross. He was at Florida as the defensive coordinator when we were at Vanderbilt. Then at Michigan, obviously, he's the defensive coordinator, and now as the head coach at Maryland, and a very respected guy. Does a really, really good job, and from everything I see, seems like a really good person as well. So, going to be a tremendous challenge to go on the road and play a conference opponent, which it always is. You look at them offensively. Walt Bell's their offensive coordinator. They also have Tyler Bowen there. I think you guys know Tyler played for me at Maryland and then was a graduate assistant for us here. And he's their offensive line coach there and is doing a great job. There are no huddle offense, tempo, check with me, RPOs, majority of 11 personnel, but we'll mix in a little 10, 12, 20, and 21. Use multiple formations to try to create a number advantage. They love to run the counter play. They love to run the split zone play. And then they'll attack the alley using smoke and mirrors, taking shots, and running screens. So they do a really good job offensively. DJ Moore is a guy we've been impressed with, a kid out of Philadelphia. Really reminds me of Chris Godwin. Explosive guy, strong guy, powerful guy. He's a playmaker for them. You have Lorenzo Harrison and Ty Johnson, that running back tandem there, both similar, kind of low center of gravity guys, really good balance, break a lot of tackles. So they're kind of the challenges that we have. And then defensively, Andy Bew, him and DJ were together, I think, at Stanford. Is the defensive coordinator, does a nice job, been coaching ball for a long time, very respected. They're a 3-4 Okie defense. They'll slide to a 4 down front. Experienced, disciplined, athletic. They're going to play cover 3 and some variations of cover 1. Pressure 29% overall, and then 57% on 3rd down. And then they kind of got a guy at each level that we got to spend some time on. Is number 5 D lineman Kevon Walker, if I'm saying his name correct. Linebacker number 1 Jermaine Carter, and then number 4 Darnell Savage, is a kid out of Delaware. All 3 of those guys are playing really, really well. And then special teams, Pete Lembo, I got a lot of respect for. Has been a head coach, and obviously now being a successful special teams coordinator. They're very sound. They play extremely hard on special teams. Last 2 notes. Troy Apke won't play the first half of the game. Obviously, I think you guys are all aware of that. And then the other thing is, I just not really dealing with this game, but I did want to say this. I think it's really inappropriate, in my opinion, from my perspective, to ask a player whether they're planning on playing in a bowl game when we're not even into bowl season yet. We're focused on Maryland this week, and I know you guys don't have to ask questions that I like or agree with, but I think to ask a player about whether they're going to play in a bowl game when we still have a game yet, we don't even know what bowl we're going to yet, is inappropriate. And to be honest, I don't like the question anyway, in general, taking that we're not even in bowl season yet. But I think I don't agree with it. So I get it. I'm not going to agree with everything you guys do and everything you ask, and I know for sure that you guys don't agree with everything I do. But I did want to get that off my chest. Open up the questions.
Rich Scarcella, Running Eagle.
Hello, James.
Hey, Rich. How are you, buddy?
I'm all right. How are you?
You don't have any bowl questions, do you, Rich?
Just trying to get travel situated, but no, other than that, no.
I was just kidding.
No. Hey, with no classes this week, how does the players' routine change? And I know you've invited players in the past to your home, and you're doing it again this year. And about how many do you expect?
The schedule changes, not as much as you think from a football perspective, because we still have all of our NCAA hourly responsibilities, which doesn't make complete sense because really the hours are based on in my opinion, a schedule that has to balance school, and right now we don't have that. It's interesting is in the past, Monday, our day off, was a big community service day. Well, we're not allowed to do that. So we had to do the community service today, which the guys want to do, but it would have made more sense to do it on Monday, their day off, than a practice day like today. But you know, for the most part, it allows them to rest and recover. They get to sleep in, you know, catch up on maybe some schoolwork or some responsibilities that they have to do there. And then I know some community service. I know Sean Spencer and the D-line, I think they gave out 65 turkeys today that Sean raised through his clothing apparel line, you know, Wild Dog Chaos, whatever he's got going on. So that's really cool. And then Thanksgiving, a lot of the guys are going to their position coaches, and then I have a number of young staff members that don't have families that are coming to my house, and then got probably about 5 or 6 players that are coming to my house, and then I probably have another 4 or 5 players that their families were going to come up and they were just going to go to a restaurant after practice or come to our team meal that we have in Pollock. But I just said, well, you know, it doesn't make sense to go to a restaurant, just come to my house. So now I think I got not only another 4 players, but their families coming, which I think is awesome, except I want them to understand what Thanksgivings are like at the Franklins. I don't want them to come over like dressed up and formal. It is sleep, it is eat, it is watch football, it's fall asleep on the couch, it's play ping pong, it's play board games, pool, eat, sleep, rotate the rest of the day. So, you know, I'm hoping that they'll come and slobber on my couch and eat turkey and just chill, because, you know, to me it's just about family and about spending quality time with each other and taking the time to, you know, be thankful for all the blessings that we do have. So that's the plan.
Bob Flanders, Harrisburg Patriot News.
Hello, James. Happy Thanksgiving.
Hey, Bob, how are you? I didn't hear what you said, I'm sorry.
I said happy Thanksgiving.
Oh, happy Thanksgiving to you too.
Get your thoughts on Miles Sanders' development.
It's a little hard to hear you. It sounds muffled.
Uh-oh. Can you hear me now?
Yeah, it's just hard to hear, but I got you.
Okay, just Miles Sanders' development this year. What have you seen from him? And biggest changes from maybe last year to this year?
Yeah, you know, Miles is the guy that I think, you know, our staff is really excited about, and I think everybody else has had a chance to see some flashes from him, and good and bad. You know, Miles has been behind, you know, one of the better running backs, if not the better running back and best player in college football. And that's a challenge. You're a really good player and you're behind another really good player. That's difficult. But I also, you know, make the argument that, you know, that Miles has been in a lab. Miles has been in a lab with one of the best professors in the country to learn from, you know, and I think that's invaluable. I'll never forget, you know, when I was in Green Bay and we drafted Aaron Rodgers that year, and Aaron was able to sit behind Brett Favre and learn. So I think there's a lot of value in that. So sometimes it's hard, but you know, Miles has handled it great. I think, you know, one of Miles' challenges in the past was ball security at this level, and he's really improved in that area. He's gained the coach's trust and his teammates' trust, and he always could run. You know, but he's gotten bigger, he's gotten stronger, he's gotten more explosive. He's learned from Saquon, he's learned from Coach Huff, and more than that, he's really just a great kid. You know, he's doing really good in school, and you know, I'm proud of him. And I know, you know, Saquon. You see how Saquon is on the sideline when he gets in the game and makes plays. And Saquon came up to me. He's like, "Miles is going to be really good." I'm like, I agree. I think I saw Tommy Stevens even put something out here recently about, you know, how excited Tommy is about Miles. So, you know, I'm pleased with it. But I think the biggest thing is ball security. He always could run, but I think he's gotten better with his ball security. I think he's gotten better with his pass production, which is a common, pass protection, which is common for young players. So, you know, very, very excited about Miles and his future.
Derek Wilkes, Wilkes-Barre Times leader.
Hi, James. Good afternoon.
Hey, Derek. How are you?
I'm doing well. James, Trace has been your quarterback for almost 2 full seasons now. In what areas have you seen him grow the most in that time, on or off the field?
I think the thing with Trace is you know what you're going to get. You know what you're going to get every game. You know what you're going to get every practice. You know what you're going to get every meeting. And there's value in that. You know, no different than people you work with or from your boss or whatever. You know, having a guy that's just so consistent. You know, academically. I mean, almost every semester he's been, you know, a strong student. You really know what you're getting. There's a lot of maturity there. Football's very important to him. I think he's become really kind of a little bit better in every area. Trace probably doesn't have one thing that blows you away. It's not like he's 6'4", it's not like he runs 4.3, it's not like he can throw it 80 yards or any of those types of things, but he does everything well, and he's worked really hard to refine and get better at his craft. So his arm has gotten stronger, he's a better decision maker, he's running better, so he's just gradually chipping away at every single area. And he's gaining a lot of confidence, and the players have a lot of confidence in him, and so do the coaches. So, it's not like I can pinpoint and say this one thing, because he didn't really have any glaring weaknesses on the front end. That's kind of who he is. He's a winner. He's athletic. He's smart. He's savvy. He's tough. And he throws it probably a lot better than people give him credit for. And he's just kind of gradually gotten better in each one of those areas because he comes to work every single day with a great attitude and prepares. So, I've just been really pleased with him. He's probably a little bit more outspoken than he has in the past, but he's still not really kind of that guy. But the most important thing is his teammates and the coaches all react well to him. There's a lot of confidence, when he's in the huddle, and a lot of the things that I just said about Miles, I could say the same thing about Tommy. Tommy has grown so much, and we're excited about him. And good and bad, he's been able to sit behind a really good player that's been having a lot of success and learn. So I think it's like anything in life, it's how you perceive the situation and how you embrace it. And we got two really good veteran leaders with two really talented players behind them as well. That's exciting.
Mark Wogenrich, Allentown Morning Call.
Happy Thanksgiving. I hope your wife is okay. People slobbering on your couch.
Thank you, Mark. The slobbering hasn't started yet, but yeah, she'll be fine.
Good. Following up with Tommy Stevens, how is it that, or is quarterback the toughest position for players to be patient with their roles? And you mentioned that he's embraced it. How does he show you that every day?
Well, no, don't get me wrong. When I say he's embraced it, it's not like he's happy being the backup. He wants to be the guy, but his relationship with Trace is really good. His relationship with Billy Fessler and the other quarterbacks in the room is really good. When he gets his reps, he maximizes his reps, and that's in practice and games. His relationship with Coach Moorhead is really good. How the other players on the team respond to him is excellent. There's tremendous confidence. I remember a couple years ago talking about a guy like Trace McSorley like this, and I see that with Tommy. One of the things I did a few months ago was I showed Tommy kind of an example of all these really good college players that kind of waited their turn and then took advantage of it when the time came. So he's just handled it really well. I mean, is he satisfied? No, but he's handled it really well. He's been a great teammate. He's prepared. When his opportunity comes, he's going to be ready for it. When he gets his reps and his opportunities, he maximizes it. I thought that play he had on Saturday, where he bounced on one foot down the sideline, kept his balance, avoided the guy, was one of the more impressive, athletic plays that I've seen since we've been here. And then the funny part is I gave him a hard time because he did all the hard stuff and then got himself into control and started running, and then just planted to cut back and planted out of bounds. And he could have really just jogged into the end zone without that hard plant. But he's been great, and I think he's got a bright future. I do think we're still in a little bit of a transitional stage as a program, that there's still some positions and there's still some areas where they've seen players play as freshmen or play as sophomores, and that's really not always the case at programs like us. It was funny, me and Charles Huff were talking this morning about Ingram at Alabama. I think there was an article or something that came out that we saw where when Ingram showed up at Alabama, he was the 7th string tailback, and the guy won the Heisman. And we talk to the guys all the time about that as true freshmen or redshirt freshmen. You know, they're playing, but maybe not playing as much as they want to be playing, and they struggle with that. And you know, there's so much football in front of them, and you know, if they just keep a really good attitude, keep working hard, and keep trying to improve, then you know, their time is going to come at some point. When it does, they'll be ready. You know, so that's the challenge of getting 18 and 19-year-old kids to understand that, and sometimes they don't. You know, so. You know, we just try to use example after example and try to show them those things. But Tommy's been great. He really has. He's been great for our team. He's been great for our locker room. And I know there's a tremendous amount of confidence in him and excitement about his and our future.
Frank Bodani, your daily record.
Hey James, thanks for your time today.
Hey Frank.
Appreciate it.
How are you?
Real good. Wanted to ask you about your linebackers. Beyond Jason and Brandon, your seniors, how do you think the younger guys have performed for you this year? Have you gotten what you would want from them? And what do you think your depth is like at linebacker right now? Yeah, you know, you always want more. You always want more production, but that's, you know, also why they're backups, because they're still developing guys. You know, I think Cam Brown is a guy that's got a very, very bright future. Strong, athletic, long, obviously. And has played a good amount of football over the last 2 years, and you know, I think that, you know, he's still got a lot of room for growth and development as well. We're excited about him. Jay Cooper's a guy that's kind of been waiting his turn, and you know, we're kind of waiting for that aha moment to happen for him, where he can stay healthy long enough in practice and games and things like that, that you know, he's going to have a chance to contribute and produce, and we need him to. You know, Jan Johnson is a guy that we're excited about. The stuff that, you know, the opportunities he's had and the time he's played pretty well. So excited about him. You'd love for Jason Cabin and Brandon Smith to be staggered a little bit from a class standpoint, but that's not the case. Koa Farmer is a guy that I think has done a nice job for us as a first-year starter at linebacker after transitioning from running back to safety, from safety to linebacker. I think he's just going to continue to get better as he gains more and more experience. And then Jarvis Miller is kind of the young guy that we need to step up. You know, he's big, he's strong, he's athletic, he can run. Needs to be more physical and consistent. And then we got some you know, young guys coming in as well. So you know, I think where sometimes there's a little bit of confusion is we're really a 4-2-5 defense. So I think sometimes when people look at our numbers or our linebacker situation, we basically play with 2 linebackers, and the third guy is really a hybrid. He's always going to be a hybrid, whether it's a safety, whether it's a corner. When we were at Vanderbilt, you know, the guy that played that position was a converted corner, from corner to safety, from safety to linebacker, played well. I sent our defense an article the other day that I saw about Washington's defense, and they're pretty much always nickel, and they have played with a 6'3" guy, they have played with a 5'9" guy, and been very successful on the defensive side of the ball. So I think that's a little bit of you know, something that maybe people don't completely understand is, you know, really we're a 4-2-5 defense in a lot of ways.
Joe Giuliano, Philadelphia Inquirer.
Hey, James, how you doing?
Good, Joe. How are you?
I'm fine, thank you. The running game on Saturday really picked it up. I don't think Saquon had a single carry where he lost yardage. And I was just wondering, we had Chaz Wright on the phone today, and he said that Coach Linegrover and Coach Moorhead challenged the offensive line. I guess that happens pretty much every week. But what did you see from the line this time around that's been different and in sustaining blocks and things?
Well, I don't know if it's as different as maybe it seems. I think, you know, as it seemed. I thought we matched up well against Nebraska. I think that was part of it. I do think it was emphasized this week, and it always is. But I think you know, maybe a little bit more so. You know, and I think, you know, obviously I thought, you know, Trace did a good job of getting us in the right play with his reads, and I thought Joe did a great job in how he called the game, and I thought Saquon did a really good job of lowering his shoulder and just hammering some in there for it's funny, Saquon, lowers his shoulder and gets 4 yards, and you're kind of like, everybody kind of rolling their eyes, like, unless he goes for 80, it's not as fun and exciting. But they're the ones that I'm most impressed with, is just, being willing to hammer that thing up there and get a positive play. So I think, I know I answer this way a lot with you guys. You probably don't like it, but I think it's all those things. I think we matched up well. I think Saquon did a good job of sticking his foot in the ground and getting north-south more consistently. And there's a fine line with that, because there's some times where he does cut back or lose yardage, and he goes for 80, and everybody thinks it's awesome. But then when he gets tackled for a loss, then that doesn't go over very well. So that's part of it. I think it's partly Trace. I think it's partly Joe. I think it's all those things. But obviously, whenever we're able to be balanced, run the ball, get Trace involved in the running game, it helps our protection, it helps our throwing game, and we're difficult. And that's where I think we scored, 56 points or something like that. And you're not really going to do that being one-dimensional. And we weren't on Saturday. So that's when we're at our best, and we need to take that, we need to build on it from our guys' confidence. That's the tight ends as well. I thought Mike did some good things. I thought Bowers came in and did some good things, and Pancos as well. So we just got to build on that, because we can't be one-dimensional.
Mike Gross, Lancaster Newspapers.
Good afternoon, James. How are you?
Good, Mike. How are you?
I'm good, thanks. Real quick one. Can you update us on the status of Manny Bowen and Irv Charles?
Yeah, Manny is not available. We'll make a game time decision on Irv.
Donnie Collins, Grand Times Tribune.
I like that. I didn't know if he was going to ask me more about that. You just clicked to the next caller. Appreciate that, Chris. Do that with all the tough questions.
Donnie Collins.
Hey, James.
Hey, Donnie, how are you?
Doing well. Happy Thanksgiving.
You two, watch what you ask, because Chris will click you off.
I'll try to make it an easy one. I think Tyrell Chavis has played pretty well. The season's gone on. He doesn't get a lot of attention for it publicly. And just wondering, how much do you think he's improved, and how do you approach his development differently when he's coming in later in his career under some different circumstances?
Yeah, I'm just so proud of Tyrell. I get emotional kind of thinking about Tyrell and his background, what he's overcome. It was so awesome to see him with his mom and his dad and Coach Spence on the field for senior day. And it's one of these things that I would love to be able to share with you guys some of Tyrell's backgrounds, but that's not my place to do it, because I do think Tyrell's story is inspirational to people, to other kids, all over this country. To kids in this community and in this state, and really all over the place, and the Richmond community that he grew up in. So I'm just really proud, of Tyrell. I'm proud of the type of teammate that he's been. He probably is the most appreciative kid in our program. Because of some of his background and some of the things that he had to overcome in junior college and things like that. He's just really appreciative of the opportunities and the support and the things that he's been able to get, here at Penn State. And the guy is going to be a success. He is a bright light. He is positive energy. It's amazing. Every single day in team meeting, he's going to do something or say something to make everybody laugh, make everybody feel good. And he's a special guy, and I'm really proud of him. I really am. And we're not a big junior college recruiting team. We're going to identify some guys every year, and if it makes sense, we'll go in that direction. But it's great. It's great to see what Tyrell's been able to do at Penn State and what the impact he's made on our team. And that's probably the thing I love the most about college football, is you have so many kids from so many different backgrounds, and that's what I love about college football. I think it's such an unbelievable lesson for all of society, because the guys in that locker room couldn't care more about one another and couldn't love each other and couldn't be more different. And we have such respect for each other and appreciation for differences and backgrounds, whether it's poor kid or rich kid or middle class or country or rural or urban or suburbs, Catholic, Jewish, Muslim, everything else. And you know, I think that's what's so great about our game. And you know, I'm really proud of him. And I know he's made a huge impact on our team on the field, but I think he's made a bigger impact on our coaches and on his teammates and just how he is with them. So Tyrell is going to be very, very successful. I think he'll have an opportunity at the next level, and I think there's no doubt that he's going to be prepared, you know, to go on and be successful when football ends.
Neil Rudell, Altoona Mirror.
Happy Thanksgiving, James.
Happy Thanksgiving, Neil.
Yep. Curious.
That almost sounded like it pains you to say that.
With the pass
Neil?
rush,
Neil?
do you feel that...
Neil?
Yes.
How are you?
Good. How are you?
Happy Thanksgiving.
I said Happy Thanksgiving to you.
You did, but it almost sounded like it pains you to say it.
I thought it was genuine.
Okay, good.
Turkey or ham?
Turkey. I'm more of a turkey guy. What about you?
Definitely turkey.
Awesome.
He's Jewish.
Oh, okay. Everybody just filled me in on some information there. Sorry.
Who's the best ping pong player on the staff? Is that better?
On the staff? Moorhead's pretty good. I can hold my own. My wife is pretty good if you consider her on the staff. Yeah, I'd probably say a battle between Moorhead and myself. I'd probably say.
Okay, you okay with a non-Thanksgiving question now?
Please.
Thank you. Just curious on the pass rush. Have you seen enough of a pattern now to evaluate whether you need reinforcements for the rest of this year or and looking beyond this year?
Yeah, I'm not sure your question. I mean, we're going to need reinforcements every year. I mean, that's what recruiting is. I'm not sure what you're asking.
Well, do you think it's good enough, you know, for the rest of this year, or are you looking at some guys plugging in that you're going to need going forward?
Well, we don't have much of this year left. I mean, we got this last home game, and then whatever opportunity we have after that. You know, hopefully we can get Buckholz back, which you know, obviously we all know he's a very experienced, very productive player in both the run game and the pass game. I think we had 4 sacks last week, so you know, that's a positive. I think they had 2 sacks and we had 4 sacks, so you know, that's a positive. But yeah, I think we're always looking for more pressure on the quarterback. We're always looking for more sacks, and that's always every year going to be a situation where we need to continue developing the guys that we have and then continue to try to bring in more reinforcements. But that's always going to be the case. I mean, I think one year we led the nation in sacks as a defense. And I think one year we led the nation in sacks individually with Carl Nassib. And it's not like, you know, we felt like we were in a good place coming next year. You know, you're constantly trying to grow and improve in those areas. So I like where we're at. I think we can be better, and that's in both of those, you know, situations. That's developing the guys that we got. You know, what you're really trying to do is you're trying to find guys that can master one move. You know, in college, I think a lot of times guys try to be good at 4 moves, and now they end up not being good at any one. You know, have one move you master that you feel like is your signature move, whether it's a speed rush or whether it's a long arm or whether it's an up and under or whatever it may be. Master that, and then you got to have the complementary, and that's what we try to help them do. Okay, here's your best move, and then you need to have a complementary move. And then, to be honest with you, it's all of it. You know, you could have one great defensive end, but the defensive end across from it. Better be really good too, because a lot of times the sack doesn't happen just based on one guy. It's a couple guys forcing a guy in the pocket in a certain direction, which creates an opportunity for someone else. So You know, it's being really good at D-tackle to get push and be explosive, and then it's really good on the edges, you know, to take advantage of the opportunities that D-tackles presented, or vice versa. So, you know, we need to get better there, but yeah, I think we're headed in the right direction.
We'll open up to questions here in the room. Please raise your hand. We'll get a mic to you. Thanks.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Just following up on Neil. Staying on that same note with the D-line, Torrance Brown's a guy that a lot of teammates have said, you know, since he's gotten hurt, he's inspired them that they want to play for him. How has Torrance, do you think, kind of handled everything that's been thrown his way?
Well, I think, you know, Torrance is one of these guys since the day he stepped on campus. He's just a very mature guy. He's very appreciative of his entire experience here. He's one of these guys that treats everybody with respect, old guys, young guys. He's got this real big brother demeanor to him. As we all know, he's got that Barry White voice. Barry White voice he's got, deep, and he's very kind, he's very caring, and he's very supportive of his teammates. You know, so I think he's just a universally respected and liked guy in our locker room. He's a guy that I'm hoping is coming for Thanksgiving. I know his family's coming into town, or they were planning on coming into town, so I'm hoping he's going to come over for Thanksgiving. But he's just one of those guys that everybody really likes and respects because of how he treats others, and how he kind of goes about his business. You know, so I can see why when Torrance got hurt, why so many people were affected by it, because he's just been such a good guy, been such a good teammate. You know, that I think a lot of people, you know, can empathize with him.
Dave?
How do you assess Lamont Wade's development, and what do you see as his primary strengths and areas that need improvement?
Yeah, you know, Lamont is a true freshman. Obviously came in with a lot of hype. I think his greatest strength is his confidence and his competitive nature. He's also a guy who can run. He's not the biggest guy, but I think, you know, he'll hit you. He plays big. Had a great spring ball. You know, really got a lot of reps and matched up with our wide receivers, which for an undersized corner is probably a challenging situation, which he handled it really well. And you know, and I think this year he's done some really good things, and I think there's some areas that I think he knows that he needs to improve on, and we need to help him improve. But I think he's got a really bright future because he's confident, because he's smart, because he's tough, because he's explosive, because he's fast. You know, and he's just a natural football player. But you know, I think I've told you guys before, I think playing offensive tackle and corner at this level are probably the two hardest positions, as well as quarterback with all the other responsibilities that are on their plate. Probably the three toughest positions to play in college football. You're basically trying to cover the best athlete on the other side of the field in space, and you're not the one, you know, that's making the decisions. You're reacting to somebody else's decisions, which makes it even harder. So I'm pleased with him, but you know, the exciting thing is he's got a lot of football left ahead of him, and there's definitely some areas, like I think, you know, challenging at the line of scrimmage is something he can do a little bit better to get people off balance and to release moves and throw the timing off. In high school, a lot of these guys could just rely on their speed and things like that, and you know, that's not gonna work at this level. But I can say that for a lot of our guys.
Mark?
I don't think she has any idea who Barry White is, do you?
Yeah.
Really?
Baritone,
Oh, that's
yeah.
good. Hey, on a serious note, James, the punt return game, DeAndre's not been getting a lot of opportunities. There were punts going to him, but he's not been able to return a lot of them. Is that something opponents are doing to kind of take him out of the game, or are there some decisions that he could be making a little better? All that said, knowing that when I attempted to catch a punt, I didn't do so.
Yeah. Should we do that again this year? You guys for that?
Let's do a full skills challenge.
Only if the
full skills challenge.
Yeah.
Like punt, pass, and kick competition, like you did.
Combine.
Well, you want the full combine.
Oh, yeah.
I would not advise listening to him. Anybody who did it last year as a waiver, let's just say.
No, I think you know, he has made enough big plays in the kicking game that people are concerned punting to him, and also what he's been able to do at wide receiver. I do think people are trying to kick it away from him, or kicking for hang time and trying to get coverage and those types of things. You know, is there a few decisions that you'd like? Yeah, that's myself, that's the players, that's everybody included. But the hard part is, you know, where do you align? Because you got a guy like last week who one time kicks it 15 yards and the next time punts it 55 yards and all over the field. A lot of people are using the rugby style punt where they roll out and hold on the ball as long as they possibly can for coverage down the field. So there's a lot of things that kind of go into it. But if I had to grade his overall year, I think it's been really good. I think, you know, we got kickoff return guys now that people are concerned about. You see what people are doing in terms of pop over kicks and things like that almost the entire game now on our you know, kickoff return unit, and then the same thing with punt. People are concerned about those guys get a chance to make big plays and are spending a lot of time during their practice prep to come up with a solution. So I would grade him very high at this point. I think there's a few that he would like to have back, and so would we. But I think there's no doubt that people are scheming to try to lessen the impact that he's going to have on the game.
Time for two more.
Happy Thanksgiving to you and your family.
Happy Thanksgiving to you too.
With the home schedule now over, when you host official visits, how is that process and experience transition to beyond the season, where you don't have this centerpiece of 108,000, 109,000 here at Beaver Stadium?
I actually prefer it, and I think most coaches do prefer it not during the season. I think when all possible, you'd like for in-season visits to be unofficial, and you'd like for the end of the season, you know, visits to be official visits. But the way the calendar has changed now in recruiting, especially with all the new stuff going on, I don't know if that's possible. I think, you know, we're going to get more and more visits in the summer during camp, which I'm not sure how that's going to work out yet. And then during the season, you know, it's challenging just because, to be honest with you, you don't get a whole lot of time with them. You know, Friday night you're with the team the whole time. You know, you'd love for them to go out and enjoy themselves with the guys, but most of the guys are in a hotel, so Friday night's weird. Then you get Saturday, and almost the entire day is dominated by the game. So you don't get a whole lot of time with them on Saturday. You get a little time Saturday night. The coaches are exhausted by the time that comes, and then you spend some time with them Sunday morning, they leave. So for a kid that maybe is out of the footprint and has never seen a game day environment at Penn State, there's definite value in that. But for other guys that you know, you really want to show them what you're about and what your organization is about, what your university is about, because at the end of the day, the school's rankings are wonderful and the stadium size is wonderful, but at the end of the day, it's about, you have a son and you're basically handing your son over to us. So it's about people and it's about relationships. And the hard part during the official visit weekend, during a game day, you just don't get as much time as you want, you know. So I actually prefer, the ones in December and January.
It's a bit more intimate after the season when you're just kind of gathered together.
Yeah, I think just like now I can go to breakfast, I can go to lunch, I can go to dinner with them. It's a lot more concentrated amount of time. They get to really see me. I get to really see them. They get to see my staff. They get to see our kids, our wives. It's just, say we had, if we would have had a couple kids on official visits this past weekend, say on Saturday from 8 o'clock in the morning till 12 o'clock at night during a non-game official visit weekend, I'd probably be with those kids 6 to 8 hours on and off, where on a game weekend I may get an hour and a half with them. So, you know, it's, you know, for the most part, most of these kids, they know us and we know them already, but I still think there's a lot of little details and questions and feeling and gut feeling that has to happen that's hard to pull off.
James, I know that you guys aren't too into individual stuff, but Saquon is, I think he's a little over 300 yards away from setting the all-time mark here for rushing yards at Penn State. I guess, how do you view what he's been able to do here so far within that prism on the field?
Maryland, 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 Maryland. I'll be happy. We'll have a meeting. I would assume we'll have some media meetings after the season, kind of, in between the end of the season and the actual bowl week. I would assume we'll probably have something, and I'll be happy to kind of look back on the season in perspective, and even some guys, maybe not him, but careers, kind of what they were able to establish in their careers and things like that. And obviously, it's significant, but I just feel like I prefer to have those types of conversations, looking back at the season and looking back at careers at a time other than this. And I get it. I know you got to ask the question. There's some things you guys want to do about that, but the tone of how the Saquon conversations have been going for the last couple of weeks, is not the tone I want with our team right now, not the tone I want with Saquon. And I get that. I don't control what you guys write, what you want to talk about, but I'd prefer to try to keep my team as focused as I possibly can on Maryland, and then at the end of the season, talk about some bigger picture things and some perspective, and then after the season, maybe do some things as well after the bowl game completely ends.